Hi and welcome. This is Kevin Doherty with BuildYourDreamPractice.com, and you are watching the first video in a three-part series called Practice on Fire. The whole purpose of this video series is to rapidly just accelerate your practice growth and help you bypass a lot of the main pitfalls that I see plague practice owners all of the time. Today we're going to focus on the inner dimension of rapid practice growth. Should be very helpful. Let's go ahead and dive in. This video series is for you if you're just sick of the practice roller coaster of continuous ups and downs. You feel like you could just never quite get stability or predictability in your practice. It just feels like a constant roller coaster ride. You feel overwhelmed wearing all of the hats as a business owner, and you just wish you could focus on the passion you have for your work. Like, why did you get into this in the first place? Perhaps you might have lost contact with that, and you find yourself attending to all kinds of details every day that aren't really within your skill set or your passion. You aren't making the money you want, or you're working way too hard for it. Now, just a quick disclaimer, I am going to talk about money in this video series. If that's not of interest to you or you feel offended by that in any way, this probably isn't right for you, because I'm definitely here to help you make more money, increase your revenue, get you more financially empowered. It's an essential component of being a successful business owner, and the more you make, the more service you're actually going to be to your clients. You simply aren't growing fast enough. And you notice that the growth process is just really a lot slower than you'd like. I'm definitely going to highlight in today's video why that's why that's happening and what we can do about it. You feel worried about your financial future, and this is very, very common, certainly something that I came up against early on in my practice, and it's just hard to relax and settle in and really enjoy the ride, because in the back of your mind, you're always worried about money or what's going to happen in the next 5 years, and how are you going to put your kids through college, or pay off your mortgage, and things like this that we all have to be concerned with. But as an entrepreneur, a business owner, this is a lot more raw, and it's just at the forefront of your mind because you don't have anybody giving you a stable paycheck every month. It's really all on you, right? All right, so if this is where you're at right now in one of these ways or all of these ways, I assure you, you're definitely in the right place. What I'm about to teach you, I really believe this. You should have learned this in your formal school or training. If you're eager to build a thriving, lucrative, fulfilling practice, it's not random that you're here. So just take a moment to appreciate that you finally come across a resource here that should be profoundly helpful. And I know that there's a lot of noise on the internet. There's a lot of stuff out there that looks promising, but it really isn't. I assure you, I've been where you are. I know the challenges you're facing, and I also know what the solutions are because I've been doing this a really long time. So just a little bit about me. First of all, like I said, I've definitely been where you are. I started my practice in 2001, and really for the first 2 years of building my practice, at that 2-year mark, I was really right on the brink of giving up. I had to have a really deep heart-to-heart with myself to determine if I wanted to keep going with this or just give up and find a new career path. And I'm really glad that I stuck with it, because it really has led me to what I do now, and I'm extremely grateful for that. But I was right there. I was right there in terms of just like, I can't do this anymore. It's just not sustainable. I was working way too hard for too little result. And I was definitely on the slow path those first 2 years of my practice growth. I was trying all kinds of things to get patients in the door, to fill my schedule, make more money. And I was getting partial results, but it was really inconsistent. It felt really random, and I was just burning myself out. So 2 years in, I knew I had to change. And a lot of what I'm sharing in this video series is really a reflection of what I did, how I made those changes, and some of the transformations that I made. Now, when I figured out what I'm going to share with you here, literally everything in my life changed. Not only my business, but I went through some fundamental changes in who I was. And I just chose to see myself in a new light, to embrace a new way of being in the world, and also took a lot of new action steps based on that. So that's really what I want to teach you in this video series, is some of the personal changes that I made, but also I've been doing this coaching work a long time, just what I see works day in and day out for practice owners around the world. Now, a little bit about my life as it currently stands. I'm the author of The Purpose Principle, The Instant Upgrade, and the ebooks Build Your Dream Practice and Online Mastery for Holistic Practitioners. I've helped thousands of practice owners all over the world since 2005, mostly in my group coaching programs. Just had the privilege, the good fortune to help a lot of people out there who are doing good in the world. And that's really my passion. I'm very passionate about helping people like you get more visibility, become more financially empowered, and finally tap their true potential. Now, you may be great at what you do clinically. In that particular skill set, you may have a lot of talent. What I want to help you do is round out this other skill set that is just as vital to your success as a business owner, which is your marketing skill set, practice management, communication, some of these more subtle dynamics, but are profoundly influential in terms of your overall success. That's what I'm here to help you with, okay? All right, so first of all, let's clarify what I mean by the fast path versus the slow path. You are generally going to be on one or the other, so let's get clear on where you're at right now so you have an organized kind of framework in your mind around which to work. The slow path and the fast path. Okay, the slow path. Basically, you're always stressed out. You're in fight or flight mode. You can never quite relax. Your mind is kind of churning a mile a minute. You're worried about your business. In the fast path, you're clear and purposeful. You have an organized kind of inner sense of what needs to happen. Your thoughts work for you rather than against you. Your mind is an ally, not an enemy. In the slow path, you're confused about how to get more clients. In the back of your mind, you're always like, well, how does this all work? I don't really get it. How do people fill their practice? And like I said, you should have learned some of this in school or your formal training, but you probably didn't, and that's why you're here with me now. On the fast path, you're confident, you're clear. You understand down to a science how to get more people in the door, how to fill your schedule. You understand the importance of visibility to your business, right? On the slow path, you'll pretty much take on anyone with a pulse as a client. You feel kind of desperate. Like anybody that calls or shows up, you should pretty much just get them in because you need to make the money. You need to get them on your schedule, right? On the fast path, you're intentional about who you work with. You take a stand for serving the people that are most receptive to what you have to offer. And it's not going to be everybody. I really believe this. You're not meant to work with anyone with a pulse. There's a kind of a specific person out there with a unique set of attributes that you alone are capable of helping. And your job is to get clear about who that person is and about what is it about that relationship, that matchup between you and them that is an ideal fit. On the slow path, you're playing the waiting game. You're kind of sitting around, twiddling your thumbs, waiting for your phone to ring. And I don't know about you, but I find that to be a very frustrating, very painful place to be. In business, you never want to wait. You don't want to be passive. You need to be proactive, right? On the fast path, you have a diverse marketing plan in place. So you're not just sitting around kind of wondering what to do. You're out there being proactive. You're taking action. You know exactly what marketing strategies work to get you patients or clients in the door. In the slow path, referrals and word of mouth are your main form of marketing. You're basically waiting for your satisfied clients to tell their friends and family about you. And while some people, and I would say less than 10%, use that as a successful form of marketing as a standalone, most of us cannot do that. We need a much more aggressive, dynamic, diverse marketing plan in place in order to speed this whole process up. So that's what happens on the fast path. Referrals are just one of many strategies. And honestly, getting referrals isn't even the best strategy. It's a lot slower than many other things that you can be doing. And certainly in my practice experience, that was absolutely true. I did get a lot of word of mouth in my practice, but it paled in comparison to some of the things that I did on the internet, which I'll share throughout this video series, okay? So I want you to just step back and generally assess which side of the spectrum are you on right now. Are you more on the slow path or the fast path? And if you're on the slow path, we need to do everything possible starting today to get you on the fast path. It is And I don't want to just add more stress to your life at all, because that's not the point of this series, just the opposite of that. But there is an urgency about getting you on the fast path. It's really important to your business success and to your quality of life. Now, in my coaching experience, and remember, I've been doing this since 2005. I've worked with thousands of people around the world, so I've seen some pretty clear patterning over those years. I would estimate that 90% of practice owners are on the slow path. And that's generally, what I see when we first start working together, is whether they realize it or not, they have been trained through our society, through conditioning, through their schooling, to be on the slow path. They just never really learned how to be an entrepreneur, how to think like one, how to become empowered, and how to really value marketing and getting visibility. Now, if this is you, it's not your fault, and I assure you there is definitely a better way. So I want you at this moment to give yourself permission to stop beating yourself up or laying a guilt trip on yourself or feeling less than if you feel like your practice hasn't been as successful as you would have wanted. It's not that you are not gifted at what you do. I'm sure you're great at your clinical skill set and you have a talent for your work, you have a passion for it, but please believe me when I tell you there are other skills that you need to develop in order to be truly successful in this work. If you've never developed those skills, it's almost impossible to have a high level of success, and that's why it's really not your fault. But starting today, we need to get those skills in place, okay? Now, as a business owner, it's extremely dangerous to be on the slow path. We need to change this ASAP for you, and there's a reason why 80% of small businesses fail within 5 years. And like I said, I've been doing this work a long time. I've seen the trends in these industries, and I would honestly estimate that it's even a little bit higher for holistic practitioners, alternative medicine professionals, people in these industries like acupuncturists, naturopaths, chiropractors. I see the failure rate way higher than it should be. And to me, it's a tragedy, because if you're doing work that matters in this world, if you're truly helping people, you absolutely should be successful. You should make a lot of money doing it. You should feel great about what you're doing. So when I see people failing in these industries, it really is sad to me, and I'm here to change that in whatever way I can. Because you deserve to succeed. You deserve prosperity in your life, but to get there, we have to get you developing some specific skills and a certain mindset as an entrepreneur, okay? Now, there is an inner and outer dimension to getting on the fast path. The inner dimension has to do with clearing limiting beliefs, increasing your confidence, and expanding your awareness so that you convey an energy of abundance and conviction in what you offer. This is vital to your success because your energy matters, and whatever quality of emotion, state of mind you're emanating to your environment will ultimately determine if people come in and see you or not. People feel it, and whether it's conscious or unconscious, people feel your energy, and they know intuitively where you're at on the spectrum. And so we want to make sure you're putting out a really attractive energy to your environment, not a repelling energy, okay? The outer dimension has to do with getting the right marketing and practice management systems in place, setting up your website for maximum conversion, and becoming a master at getting visibility, at education, and communication. These are the skill sets that are vital to your success and that I'm here to help you develop. Now, in my coaching work, I always focus on both the inner and outer dimension. If you have an empowered mindset, so let's say you've done the inner work, but you have deficient front-end marketing, you're still going to struggle most likely. Likewise, if you're out there hustling and implementing all kinds of marketing strategies, but you're stuck in fight or flight mode, you'll get burned out and frustrated. And I've seen many, many people on both sides of the spectrum. I've seen some with the kind of, meditate and they will come mentality, where if they just think they work on their mind, it's kind of like The Secret or Law of Attraction. That's all they need to do. And they fail to take a lot of effective, empowered action. On the contrary, I've seen a lot of people, and this was more me early on, where you get out there and you hustle and you try all these things, and a lot of your reality is externalized. You kind of forget about yourself and your mind and how important that is in this process. This is kind of an epidemic across the board for business owners. How easy is it to just buy into this kind of seductive mentality of, there's that carrot dangling in front of us, and we're always trying to get to that next level, make more money, be more successful. So in today's video, I really want to give you a simple tip to get you back into your power, back into who you really are, because that's really the basis of your success. But what we mostly want is a balanced, integrated approach between the inner and outer dimensions of your success, okay? Okay, so the inner dimension of rapid growth. The way I see it, the most vital inner work you can do as an entrepreneur is developing the skill of stripping your power away from your outer circumstances. And I'll explain what I mean by this. In my book, The Instant Upgrade, I call this circumplanting. That's kind of a term I came up with for this, where you continuously plant new seeds of empowerment and abundance in your life based on how you want to be in this moment. Now, how can you do this? Well, what I would recommend to keep this very practical is you're going to take 10 minutes a day, preferably in the morning, and boldly proclaim how you're going to feel, act, and perform on that day. You're going to set the tone based on your authentic desires, not what other people are telling you or what your current circumstances are suggesting to you. The main thing is to consciously cultivate the energy of excitement back into your life. And I don't know about you, but this is something that has been kind of stomped out of us by and large. Once we become adults, we're out there trying to survive, make money, build a business. How easy is it to forget about this very simple kind of essence of staying engaged, passionate, excited in what you're doing, and to instead get bogged down in the details and the worry and the frustration and the lack mentality. So we need to get you back. We need to get the real you back, and I don't believe this is hard to do at all. It's really based on what you believe to be true. Spend 10 minutes a day. Start your day like this. Get a morning routine in place where you're going to elevate your state, okay? Now, in my coaching program, Practice on Fire, which you're going to hear more about over the coming days, I go into a lot of depth on some very specific exercises you can do to get your state elevated and to renew this energy of excitement back into your life. I truly believe, as cliche as it sounds, that money follows excitement. If you're excited, genuinely tapped into that energy, people feel it and they're going to want to work with you way more than if you're stuck in survival mode, or if you are worrying about money, or if you have a lack mentality or scarcity consciousness, anything of that nature, right? So I want you to step back and think about your life right now. Have you noticed this ongoing trend where you base your emotions, your feelings, your state of mind on what's happening out there? So whatever happens in your circumstances, you basically react to that, and that determines the quality of your emotional life. What we want to do with circumplanting is flip that around, where you're going to boldly step into a new way of being in your world. You're going to choose how you want to feel, how you want to think, who you want to be first. And then you're going to let your circumstances react to that, okay? So most of us in our Western world have this totally backwards. And it's the fundamental difference between being a victim and being empowered in your life. As a victim, we're always reacting to outer circumstances, basing our self-worth, our feelings on what's happening out there. As an empowered business owner, entrepreneur, what you're going to do is, regardless of what your circumstances are doing right now, whether you have a ton of debt, you're struggling in your business, or you're doing okay, but it could be so much better, whatever's out of whack in your outer life, you're going to choose to take a stand right now and generate the energy of excitement of how you really want to feel in your life every day. And you're going to start planting those seeds, and you're going to trust that your outer circumstances are going to mirror that back to you gradually over time. So you're going to dictate the quality of life that you want on your terms. You're going to allow your state of being to guide the way rather than what's happening outside of you, okay? So once again, please don't overthink this. Don't make it more complicated than it is. This is another very common tendency amongst healers or very smart people, is they tend to overthink this, make it too intellectual. What I want you doing is practicing, taking action, keeping it extremely simple, where you have some very practical, easy exercises in your life to just rewire your mind to getting back to a place of simple excitement and joy, regardless of what's happening outside of you right now. Doesn't matter, once again, how much student loan debt you have, whatever's going on in your practice, in your personal life. Choose to feel how you want to feel and tell a story. Choose to believe that this is not hard, doesn't take a lot of time. It's something that you can tap into right now because, quite honestly, it is your natural state. It's who you really are underneath all the mental clutter and noise and conditioning that you've been exposed to. 10 minutes a day, okay? That's your exercise. Starting now, and just do it as long as you can and start planting those seeds and see what happens. And don't judge it, don't, fight against it. Just notice, just pay attention to how this changes both your inner world and over time your outer world. It's quite fascinating. Now, remember this, this is a general rule that I live by. The only way to change your outer circumstances, and I mean like permanently in a truly authentic way, is to change your state of mind first. Now, once again, most of us have this backwards in our world. As a business owner, it's imperative that we get you out of survival mode or fight or flight mode, where you're always reacting to what's out there, never quite feeling whole in yourself, like you can relax or like you've earned the right to feel amazing about your life. So this is, once again, such a seductive notion in our society that once we just hit that next rung of success, or we make that next amount of money, or we get out of debt, we fulfill some sort of outer condition. That's what's going to enable us to relax finally, or to feel good about ourselves, to have joy in our lives. And I think that is a very dangerous way to live, as is evidenced by millions of people all around us who aren't exactly happy or fulfilled. So right now, in this moment, can you choose to tap back into your power? Can you choose to feel amazing about yourself, even if out there it's not quite lined up yet? It's not quite what you want to be in your business and your circumstances, all right? In a sense, it won't ever completely line up. You know what I mean? Like, it's never going to be ideal or just absolutely perfect. But what most of us do, once again, is we're deeply conditioned to believe that once we just get it right out there in our outer life, then we can finally have some relief, some peace. You need to generate those states of mind now in an unconditional way. And that's what's ultimately going to change those outer circumstances. Hopefully that's clear, but let me know if you have any questions, okay? Now, in tomorrow's video, we're going to switch gears and talk about the outer systems you must have in place to ensure a predictable, smooth, prosperous practice, and one that grows in a fraction of the time it takes most. So today, I want you focusing on this simple inner technique where you're going to reframe your state of mind to choose to basically choose excitement, choose joy, generate that unconditionally starting now, 10 minutes in the morning. And trust me, I could talk another hour to 10 hours about this stuff in this video. I want to keep this very simple and very actionable for you, because that's how I can help you the most, how you're going to get the best results, okay? And once again, if you join me in Practice on Fire, you are going to get a very deep dive into this inner work, because I consider it mandatory for any business owner who's really serious about their success, okay? All right, so let's leave it at that for now. Look for tomorrow's video. If you're on my email list, you should get a notification with a link to that video, and that should help you really round this out. So you get those systems in place that take a lot of the stress out of the equation and make your growth predictable and stable, okay? All right, once again, Kevin Doherty, buildyourdreampractice.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow. All the best.